Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kapadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to all the Akim out there on the four corners, teaching the truth and sincerity. This is Tasha Require Mouth of the Jim at Dallas Camp, coming at you with a quick hit. Lord's willing, this is edifying unto the hopeful elect. So a couple weeks ago, I did a lesson going into how Israel was trying to join the militaries of America and Israel, mainly because uh, Israel is that catalyst that's going to bring America into World War III. All right, and Kohaloyim Layahal Bashmi Al Shai, once that bill passed, it was the end. Because to me, I saw it as like the glue to make all this stick. Because now Israel is going to be able to have a capability to do above and beyond, or pretty much whatever the fuck it want to do. Salakia for saying that, but yeah, they have the means now to do whatever they want to do. Money wise, the Israeli budget was only like 48 billion, and uh, America's budget is 8.6 billion, military wise, and so pretty much Israel has gotten a blank check. But let this Edomite speak.
Please listen to this for real. U.S. and Israel intelligence integration has passed. The Senate Intelligence Committee has passed the Intelligence Authorization Act of 2027, and buried inside of this mega bill is Section 622, the United States and Israel Intelligence Sharing Enhancement. This section both greatly increases the access Israel has to U.S. intelligence information and even prohibits presidents from changing this agreement without congressional oversight. Now, this bill will greatly increase information sharing about Iran, terrorist organizations, cyber warfare, missile and drone threats, U.S. military forces in the Middle East, and foreign military information. And according to the bill, word for word, intelligence sharing and related security information exchanges with the government of Israel shall not be suspended, reduced, or otherwise materially limited except on the basis of a specific national security concern. And more so, not later than 15 days after the date of any decision to materially increase, suspend, reduce, or otherwise alter intelligence sharing or related security information exchanges with the government of Israel, the President shall notify the Congressional Intelligence Committee of such decision. Like, are we for real right now? Thanks for watching.
So with that, one second. Yeah, so many precepts popped into my la'ab whenever I heard, this bill being passed, because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, prophecy, it has been popping off the page to the T, that I could see. Now it's visible that everybody can see it, and if you can't see what's transpiring right now, all right, we're about to get out of here, and we're about to get out of here in a quick fashion, okay? But I'm gonna go to Matthews, because Matthews chapter 13, I'll start at verse 16, yeah, 13 and 16, and this is in red letters. This is Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai speaking. It says, "But blessed is your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear." All right, so we're seeing the things, play out upon this earth that Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai is enacting from the heavens. Okay, verse 17, it says, "For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see the things that ye see, and have not seen them, it says, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them. So many great men, from ancient times, some of them are here right now, but they're in new flesh. They were reincarnated into this existence, to play out the lives that Yahweh Shemi Shai has, allowed them to, but, they have desire to hear the things, and to see the things, from back in the ancient world, right? And have not seen them, all right? But now we're seeing these things play out, and you're seeing Yahweh Shemi Shai's words go out, I'll continue. It says, hear ye therefore the parables of the sower, all right? Because Yahweh Shemi Shai is sowing this into existence. Okay, he's bringing it forth. All right. I'm gonna get that Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. It says, "So shall my words be that goeth forth out of my mouth; it shall not return unto me void." Okay, so everything that dude was going into was how Israel has joined the U.S. military. So like the U.S. and Israel's military has joined. Okay, so all the information that is needed or wanted, on the world global stage, is going to be shared between America and Israel. Okay, but there's some things that Israel has stated here recently in the past. I said here recently in the past, so in these past couple months, about how the so-called African American male is a problem. So what that means? That means that the prophecies about them coming up against, us, that's about to come to pass. Because like I said, this bill is the glue. It's going to stick everything to it. All right. So that's Sirach or Ecclesiastes or so like Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, verse 12. Okay. Because this is what can come to pass, out of this bill as well. Because Esau thinks that he has all power now. All right, Israel thinks that they can't be touched. Okay, but they don't know that Yahweh Shemi Shai is always watching. He's ever vigilant. But it says right here, it says, "But cruelly he will lay up thy words." And will not spare to do thee hurt and put thee in prison. Now, how are they stirring up our words right now? All right. So back during the Cold War, because they used points from different points of different points of existence. So during the Cold War, the Russians would spy on their citizens, all right, and they would have a network of people monitoring phone calls, But who's monitoring the phone calls now? AI, all right. And what is Israel? These Israelis, well, they are one of the world's most advanced spy networks. Okay, and what are they going to be doing? Every call, every text, going to specific individuals, because remember, there's still a red list, a blue list, a green list. All right. And if you fall under one of those categories, you will be subject to scrutiny. Hell, what's going on now on these roads? These flock cameras. All right. So, everything's being watched, everything's being surveilled, you know, for your hurt. All right, especially if you've been clicking on these videos. Yeah, you're being watched. Yeah, because you are the problem. All right, they always try to flip it and put a black face on it, you know. But I'll continue. I'll read 12 again. It says, "But cruelly will he will lay up thy words, and will not spare to do thee hurt, and to put thee in prison." So that's the next step. That's why all of these concentration camps was built, or not concentration camps, but the quarantine centers, you know, that they made and didn't use. Well, everything that's made is going to be used. It says in verse 13, you know, observe, watch, and take good heed, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. All right, peril, you know, danger. You're walking in danger. All right, so whenever this bill passed, you know, it's one big step, you know, to those that are watching, to those that see. All right, this is a big step. All right, now they can implement all the other shit just off of this, because they're gonna label you that T word, or, you know, because of something that you said, because now you're being watched. And then it's gonna be like China, because they're trying to implement all these cameras so they can be all seen, which no one's all seen except for Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. All right. It says, I'll read 13 again. It says, observe and take good heed, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. It says, when thou hearest these things, awaken thy sleep. That means come out of that confusion. All right, because our people is so lackadaisical right now, all right, and they don't understand the signs of the times. All right, we are at war. Okay, we are at war. All right, and Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai has put us here to assist, you know, the elect on getting out of here. You know, the Most High's army has footmen. All right, the brothers that are out there on the highways and byways sighing and crying, those are the footmen. All right, but Yahweh Shai does all the heavy lifting. All right, and that's what it's going to say in verse 14. It says, love Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai all thy life, and call upon him for thy salvation. All right, so we're gonna have to call upon Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. That's the importance of the names. All right, because if you don't have the name, you know, how can you get salvation? All right, like that sheep, that lost sheep that wanders away from the flock. All right, what is he doing? He's crying out like, oh shit, I'm in an area that I don't know what is. Oh, wolves are around me. I need protection. You gotta call upon your power, you know, or your shepherd to stave off all danger. All right, but yeah, so we're coming into a time that these Edomites, you know, think that they have all power. All right, but they're afraid too, because they're afraid of Jake and their power. You know, Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. They're afraid of Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. I was going to get that Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, all right, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And with this bill being passed, it shows that we got a short time to be in this thing, bro. Yahweh Shem Yahushua is coming to redeem the elect. Okay? And that short time is whenever this bill was passed and Israel has gotten the power to basically steer the beast wheresoever it wants to go. All right, that's how you know it's over. All right, and this beast is going to be roaring all over the whole world. And that's why Yahweh Shai is going to come back and he's going to humble. All right, but I'll read that again. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them." So we shouldn't be in the scared, fearful mindset. We should be happy. This right here is what things that kings have wished to see. All right, this part of the movie. All right. What's that? It's better to see the end of a thing than the beginning of it. All right, because this is the exciting part. All right, we're about to see how Shem Shai deliver his elect. Okay, in miraculous fashion. Okay, Abaratazah, I'm a part of it. But it says, "Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea." Okay, to those that is ruling the earth right now, which is Esau, Edom, in Babylon the Great. Okay, and now these tiny tops, because they're ruling Babylon the Great through their what's that? It slipped my like that. They're ruling Babylon the Great through their political system. All right, so these red-blooded Americans here in Babylon, all right, some of them know what's going on and they're disgusted because they see that they have lost their sovereignty. All right, they have lost their right to be sovereign. All right, these people ain't got it. That's why the dude was like, "Is this it?" Yeah, this is it, bro. How about Shem Yahushua about to sew this shit up, man? All right. It says, "Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." All right. So yeah, his short time is here. After this, he's not going to rule anymore. How about Shem Yahushua is going to put him away because his time is over. All right, and then the kingdom of heaven will begin. But we have to go through this last part. Okay, so with this joint vineyard that was implemented, all right, it's going to help to push a lot of prophecy, in a short period of time. All right. And one of the main ones of that is that MOTB, because they're going to want to track and trace everybody that's on the planet. Just like back during World War II, whenever they say about the Hollywood, that thing that supposedly happened to them, which that's been debunked. They had a stamp on all of them, okay, but that's going to be that MOTB, and they're going to want to do that to the whole world. So we're about to see some exciting things. We're about to hear a lot of stuff, the military called the chatter. We're about to hear this, all right, but they're going to hear Yahweh Shem Yahushua come down and protect his elect. All right. So with that, hey, the water for those that listen. Hey, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai Bahashim Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and salutations to all the Akimat on the four corners, truth and sincerity. Shalom and shalom.